Hey guys, Cam with Hope to Canine, and I'm having some tech issues, so bear with me here. Just take a second to try this again. There we go. Hey, it's Friday. We typically try to share Q&A live on Fridays, Fix It Friday that is. And this week we didn't have any question submissions, so I'm just gonna riff it and hope that the live stream cooperates once and for all. But if it doesn't, this is my last try. I'm over it. And sometimes these issues are very evident in terms of the cause, and other times it's complete mystery. Today is one of those mystery days. So welcome. Say hey if you're here, and let me know if you have questions. Please get them dropped in the comments immediately. If you have a dog behavior issue, dog beats business question, rescue question, puppy raising question, get them dropped in the comments because we didn't have any pre-submission items to discuss. And I'll riff for a moment here and talk about some of the cases that I have, and then otherwise bugger out if I don't have anybody asking anything additionally of me. So let me just give a second here for this to catch up, since I got dropped about 5 minutes in on my last attempt. I don't want to dive into anything juicy here. Hello, I see Sandra, Stephanie, Carmen. Hello. Got a handful of other people here, it looks like. I am happy to hang out with you for a little bit. If you're brand new to the page and the broadcast, Hope to Canine Foundation provides a lot of different services. Some of them are through our nonprofit side, our community service work that's geared towards helping keep dogs in their homes and out of shelters and rescues, or from unnecessary euthanasia. Hey, April, it finally clicked. And then by having that mission, it really steers us in the direction of providing our community class every month, which we now do at Kit Carson Park here in Escondido, California. We provide a lot of consultation services, a lot of free evaluations, phone support resources, online through our social media materials. These are some of the ways that we fulfill on that mission to try to help people who can't access professional dog training and who want to stay the course with a difficult dog, or who are proactive in their journey to prevent issues. Hey, Susie, glad you're here. Hey, Becca. Kelsey's here too. Hello, everyone. So that's just a little bit of 411. If you're brand new to the community and you don't know how we work, we do have dogs for adoption, and 99.999% of the time they've gone through our complete board and train program. It's a $3,000 program before being placed in a home. You can't get a better adoption setup than the dog having lived with us. We know them for weeks and weeks. We've put training on them. They have skills to go out in the world and deal with things with you. I say 99.999% because right now we have a dog in our program for adoption, Sloan. I've posted a little bit about her, but she is basically feral. She's so fearful of everything that she's not going to be a dog we adopt out in the standard sense, guaranteeing that she has this training program on her. And if you're wondering about the noise in the background, it's my personal dogs. So she is going to be a dog that we want to place in a home and let her bond for a few months, and then have her come back in and do some work with us. But she really needs to build a relationship with her adopter, and then we can do a collaborative training process, because she's just so scared of everything. But that said, she has prong collar experience. Laszlo, come here. Bring your sister over here, please, to be quiet. Get a toy. She has prong collar experience to crate training experience. She's quiet, calm, and perfect in the crate. I will come back to your question, Carmen, for sure. And she's great with dogs. She's great with other animals. Carrie Ann's going to take her next week for me and see how she does with kids, because she has Odin, her son Odin. So we'll have a little bit more information about her with kids, but she's just a loving, sweet, super affectionate girl once she's used to you and close to you, and that doesn't take a lot of time at all. But everything in the world is just overwhelming to her. Really flighty dog. So she's really not a dog that makes sense. That's a better angle for the sun with me and my eyeballs. That makes sense to be in our program now that we've had her for a few weeks, and we're just like, wow, you're pretty stuck. But we do think that she deserves a shot and that she is going to be a really great companion. She has to go to a home with another dog. So just FYI, she has to go to a home with another dog. And she can be with male or female dogs. She's awesome that way. She really loves dogs. She's only about a year old. So she has to go somewhere where there's another dog that's confident about things in life and used to being in a home environment. My suspicion is that this dog was a stray because she ran from something that scared her. And, that was that. She just runs. Um, so we do have adoptables, but it's the smaller portion of the program, and it's a very expensive part of our program. So for our recurring donors, you guys make that adoption program possible because we take so much time and we're so, careful and systematic about our adoption placement, so we don't have returns. That's probably the most costly thing that we offer through the foundation. We also have an online group that is a donation-based recurring subscription that's focused on helping you understand how to deal with puppy stuff, how to raise puppies to be great adult dogs, what to do right away when you bring a puppy home, let alone as the months go on, some different reasonable expectations and guidelines for development and socialization, things like that. And if you've not heard about it, I really encourage folks who are interested in currently raising a puppy well, future raising a puppy well, helping other people understand how to raise puppies well. So maybe you're in the rescue world, maybe you foster, and are a part of adopting puppies out. Any of you in that category, let alone if you want to retroactively understand your dog's current behavior better, that's a great place to start. And again, it is a tax deductible donation per month of at least $25, and that gets you entrance in there. So, Carmen, your question about steps to be taken to intro a new puppy with Lola would be the sort of thing that we would cover in that Raising a Rockstar group, and that's a perfect segue. To give you a general cursory answer here via Fixit, there's not a whole lot you need to do. Lola needs to be allowed to set boundaries and share her own information and feedback for any puppy. Um, you know, Taking the lead and being the top dog is something she'll naturally do and will be easy for her to drop into. And it's really more about getting the right puppy for you, the right puppy for your lifestyle, for your, current activity level, the right puppy, to balance out the fact that you have a low key, mellow adult slash senior female dog. You don't want to go out and get a German short-haired pointer. You're going to drive Lola crazy. That's going to be unfair to her in her senior years. So I would really encourage you to be thinking along those lines when you ask that question, what steps should I take? Well, all the way back to the selection process and choosing what type of puppy and, the temperament and disposition of that animal, making sure that you get that information, that either you're adopting or you're purchasing, that a temperament test has been done. You're really looking for a dog that's going to be a complement, not a dog that's going to harass and create a lot of stress and chaos in your other dog's world, and a dog that, will settle into your lifestyle and dynamics and be a good match for you. Friend's dog got attacked. Sarah is asking a question here. Got attacked by another dog when hiking off leash recently. Her dog was perfectly friendly, trained, and no issues before. Got neutered shortly after the attack, so is laying low. Now is showing some crazies and dog reactivity. Tips on how to help re-enter into the world, result of the attack or the post-neuter. Sarah, hey, guys, sorry, come here, guys. You need to get a toy. Stop attacking each other. It's too loud. Just see what I'm dealing with. These two are like in love with each other. And they go crazy. Get a toy. All right. Let's come back to this question. Because this is one that I was starting to say it'd be really easy to assume that the incidences are related. And realistically, they may not be at all. The neuter or the attack may not be the underlying cause of this dog's crazies, which I don't know what that means, and dog reactivity. However, both of those experiences are really stressful. They're stressful systemically, they're stressful energetically, they're stressful on the human in the equation. If you have a dog get attacked, I'm sure any of you have been through that, can empathize that it's hard not to have some sort of post-traumatic, response. Come here, get your toy. It is, very difficult not to brace for a problem when you see another dog off leash and feel like it's, bound to happen again. There's a lot of anxiety oftentimes that, your dog is fragile. And the problem is when you start thinking that way and feeling that way and producing that sort of energy, you actually influence your dog and potentially make it worse than it needs to be. More often than not, if things are handled correctly at the time of a trauma and an incident like that, the dog can move through it. What often happens though is we influence it in a negative way based on how we respond and how we stress in the future and how we continue to overanalyze that dog's experience. And then we often create a bigger problem than what would have otherwise been there. So that's sort of my first half of response to this question. The other would be, what has been done to compensate for those experiences in terms of supporting the immune system, detoxing from that neuter experience, building the immune system back up so that there isn't inherent stress at a gut level. And then how old is this dog, right? So a fear period could have been a factor here. Sarah, can you tell me how old your friend's dog is? One of the things that I see a lot of dog owners fuck up, frankly, is they vaccinate, neuter, microchip, um, what else? Flea and tick preventative starts on a monthly basis. These are like chemicals, stress, all within 6 months. Okay. They get the puppy at 2 months old, and by the time the dog is 6 months, they've had all of these things. Well, your puppy is going through fear periods all the way through that first couple of years, even. Guys, honestly, you're too happy. Um, and so it's often what happens is not only is that cumulative stress a factor just because, right? It's all happened in such a short period of time and there's been no bouncing back. But sometimes, the dog is going through a fear period on top of all of that. We're not paying attention to some indications that it's giving us behaviorally or physically, systemically even, right? Like maybe it has a day where it's got diarrhea, loose stool, or, we think, oh, well, it ate something in the yard. Well, there can be other factors for why that's happening. And knowing how to read what abnormality is normal and what warrants further investigation or treatment is really difficult. And it is kind of on a case by case basis. Some overarching rules of thumb, though, are that if the dog has had vaccines, it needs to be spaced out. It needs detox. It needs the system supported to bounce back from that exposure to virus. And then, when it's had anesthesia for any sort of procedure, neutering, spay, what have you, that again is very stressful to the body. The body holds on to those things for months. It doesn't come out of the system entirely for quite a lot longer than most people realize. And so from that standpoint, I think, it'd be really easy to attach an association for this dog, but realistically, this dog could also just be moving through a fear period, had a bad experience, and an owner that responded to it in a way that was more or less appropriate, or problematic. And now we just kind of have a cluster cuss of not knowing which is which. What we need to do moving forward is we need to correct what we don't like and we need to reinforce what we do. This dog is old enough to have, structure, direction, specific defined expectations about various obedience, commands and communication between human and dog in that regard, how it walks on the leash, building impulse control, having some sort of off switch training. If the dog's not doing a lot of place work, it needs to do a lot of place work, in my opinion, a lot of Zen meditative work of just, you're parked over there. You need to learn to turn off and tolerate the world, even if it's not perfect and you feel like the sky is falling. That skill is only thing that's going to build that dog's ability to start shifting its association with some things that may be just inherently nerve-wracking for it now, or that it hasn't had enough experience positively to. So I hope that makes sense. I know I'm rattling, but it's a difficult one to answer because I haven't met the dog. So full, disclosure, right? Anytime you're getting advice on something, it's, there are hypotheticals. There's a lot of experience that I have in dealing with dogs like this, but every situation can be unique. And the, environment and the humans in the equation are massive factors of influence. Massive. That's why we can take dogs and put them in a board and train situation, get them away from the influence of the owner, get them away from the relationship associations that limit. And we can start spelling out every day and saying, hey, listen, this is how you're supposed to respond to this and that and this and that, and creating, a lot more clarity. and see behavior change so quickly in most cases, um, is because the environment and the human relationships have a massive influence. The dog is operating, from genetics, it's operating from instinct, it's operating from experience, but it's also absolutely just operating based on what it believes about, can I trust and respect my owner? Do I need to handle this? From an entitlement place, right? A lot of that attitudinal stuff is in place by the time you have a dog a year old. Um, I would lock down this routine a lot more. I would advocate for a lot more structure. That's what the behavior is telling you, period. Whether we ever understand the why, and I had a video on this, I think, the other day. I'm not sure if it posted because I feel like there was maybe a glitch there, but I have it still in my phone where I just said we don't always get to know the why behind behavior. And that's really hard for human beings. Human beings want diagnoses. They want answers. They want concrete evidence. They want to know, why does my dog do what it does, especially if it's dangerous or scary or, stressful, or it seems unpredictable. The thing is, oftentimes we don't get to know. We just don't get to know the why. If you're a adopter of a secondhand dog, there's a lot of things you'll never have the answer to. Guessing and getting stuck in analysis paralysis is one of the worst things you can do. On the most very basic level, at the risk of being attacked by a bunch of professional dog trainers, it's really about correcting and discouraging what you don't like and reinforcing or rewarding what you do like. Whatever your dog is doing, that's the most basic thing you need to remember when you're looking at your dog's behavior. Don't stand there and go, what the hell? Why did he just do that? Don't do that. Don't stand there and do that. Take action. Respond. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Correct it, reinforce it. And then every time you endeavor to understand the why, every time you research and actually take the time to look into why might my dog be doing that, it will make you better. It will make you better at understanding your influence on canine behavior, at being preventative of issues that bother you. And it's going to up level you in all these other ways in terms of your leadership development, your self awareness, your ability to be present and grounded, because that's what dogs do. That's what they invite us to do. So I don't want anyone to get stuck, though, in that why, because sometimes a trainer doesn't even know why. Okay. And what we do is we go, well, don't really know, but don't like it. Gonna get rid of it, right? Whether that's to counter condition it and take our time and try to do something very slow and methodical, or just to squash it with a correction or a consequence based on the dog, we have to make those adjustments. That's the art of it, I think, is the trainer's ability to know, I really need to go slow here, or this dog just needs to be put in its place, you know? And the skill that comes with understanding why and creating preventative protocols for our clients, helping them to understand their influence and connect the dots a bit better about having empathy for their dog and why their dog struggles, or accountability, having accountability for what they created in the dog, the messaging that's been screwed up. These are things that come from doing that research and becoming kind of a hobbyist trainer, or what we like to encourage people to get in the dog nerd cult. But it doesn't matter. If you don't ever know why, at the end of the day, you still need to make that very basic foundational um, decision. In the moment of a behavior, in the moment of an action that the dog is doing, if you want more of it, reinforce and reward it. If you don't like it, you need to discourage or punish it. It's really that simple. And so when we're talking about a 1-year-old dog that's having reactivity on leash in particular is a sign of the relationship dynamic. Dogs, in my opinion, dogs are reactive on leash, are doing so in the context of their relationship with the human. They believe they can or they must take over, period. That's the most simple thing that I can articulate about leash reactivity. It is not solved on the walk. We do not fix leash reactivity on the walk. I know that sounds crazy, but every single one of my clients that's worked with me will account for this, will vouch for this, that I have to tell them over and over and over again. Your dog is acting like a wackadoodle out on the leash because he believes he can or he must based on where you spend the majority of your time together in your relationship, which is inside, right? Inside, not outside. So your dog is doing this because of what he sees and knows about you indoors, all the little moments, Did you let him flip out and be upset and get out of the crate and sleep in your bed or on the floor? Did you let him blow past you at the doorway even though you tried to stop him and make him wait or sit? Did you let him fork into the food bowl and just scarf it up and eat it super fast and not wait patiently to take it from you? Did you let him take the treat out of your hand with the snappy, bitey, mouthy nonsense as a puppy and you didn't resolve and correct that behavior at the time? Do you tell your dog, no, stop, quiet, when they're reacting, barking, rushing the door when someone comes over, the mailman's dropping the mail in the box or whatever, but you don't actually stop it? The dog doesn't actually care about your consequence that you're giving. You haven't found a meaningful correction that interrupts that choice, and the dog goes, oh, I'm not supposed to do that. These are all the moments, guys. Does your dog follow you around the house? Do they have to be in your space? Do they panic when you try to lock them out? I have one right now, Winston, the Great Dane. He's here literally for severe separation anxiety. That is his primary reason for being in board and train. When you try to separate him, when you lock him out of the room where the owner is, he claws, he's destructive, he panics, he falls apart, he drools massive puddles in the crate, he's not eating well, he's completely freaked out and stressed out with the boundary to be okay in his own skin, which, by the way, is the one life skill both our species absolutely need in order to be successful. Okay? So, you know, the influence of the relationship inside the house is what's playing out when you take your dog out in the world. Just remember that, please. Anything you don't like, defensiveness, reactivity, pulling on the leash, disconnecting, blowing you off out in the world means you've got work to do inside the house. You need a pattern interrupt. You need to stop being, lazy or cutting corners or avoidant of your dog's choices in the house. And you need to start getting on top of those little moments and creating more structure and accountability that puppy does not get to have the level of freedom that it has, or dog. Chewing 12-week puppy, what? Jessica, I need more of the question, please. What about it? The puppy is, you're chewing the puppy? The puppy is chewing on the house? The puppy is chewing on you? What is the question? Expand, please. Expand, please. That's a lot of information on those two topics. Hopefully helpful and valuable. Thank you for asking those questions so far. And, I wanted to come back. I had a thought on our 1-year-old, leash reactive dog. Like I said, probably the most important thing that I can tell you in the context of the show is, these issues are cumulative. They're not just related to the incidences that your mind wants to attach itself to, but ultimately it doesn't matter, right? There's behavior that needs to be squashed, and there's behavior that needs to be encouraged, aka an outlet for who this dog is and the type of drive that he possesses, because we can't just squash that. That has to have some sort of way to come out. Jessica, she hasn't come yet. I'm told she's chewing stuffed toys and eating them. So you're asking me about a puppy who's eating toys that you don't even have yet. Stop giving them toys. Stop giving her toys. That's simple. Some puppies can't have soft toys or socks or even chews. Some of them just can't. They don't know how to do it right. But the reality is that in my program, the only way that's going to happen is if the puppy is loose in the living room where the toy bin is and unsupervised, and there's not enough structure and they're not crate training. Like, these are the things you need, right? So whoever has your puppy right now, fail, because they shouldn't have that level of freedom, period. If they're just a, mouthy puppy that likes to destroy things, that happens. Some puppies are more assertive, aggressive in that department than others, and they're not to be trusted. They can't have soft toys. They can't have certain types of chews. Mine have toys all over the place because she doesn't ingest it. The puppy doesn't ingest it. My boxers have never eaten toys. They've never ingested. They actually don't even tear them up until another dog has ripped a hole. So it's kind of an interesting thing that personally, I think it's just the way that we play with them from the very beginning. But regardless, if this puppy's already showing you that maybe they're a little bit of a pica puppy, they have a, issue of consuming things inappropriately, don't let her have them. There are plenty of safer bones and things out there that can be given to this dog, potentially a yak milk chew or, a Nyla bone or a Dura chew, something like that, that would be safer for your puppy to get that chewing fixation out, and not something that she can consume pieces of. So crate, 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 because I'm not taking any more separation anxiety puppies, you guys. I'm not doing it. Frankly, I made that decision today as I received another one. I am done. I'm done. I'm so mad. I'm so mad about these separation anxiety puppies, you guys. Knock it off. Junie started getting more reactive to other dogs on the leash in the last several months. We've also gotten more stressed every time we leave the house, stressed in the house, worrying about attacking. Yeah, 100%. 2 weeks before bringing her to you, we gave less freedom. We started to see a difference. Yes. Susie, thank you for validating that for yourself, first of all, because it's really, really helpful when you do process things like that out loud or on the paper, in the journal. Hey, so, yes, 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 it works. I'm telling you. Dial back the freedom, dial back the affection, lock that thing down to a regimented routine where the time out of the crate is quality over quantity. Get picky about the small moments. In Junie's case, this is a strong dog with soft humans. The energy is bad. It's a bad match. Now, that's only speaking from a professional, technical standpoint. Obviously, you guys are kick ass, and she's so lucky to be with you. But a lot of your struggle has been because it's a bad match, right? You guys have a dog level here and she's a dog up here, and you're just like, we're not speaking the same language. So I actually see Junie as a kind of a bitch. She's really sensitive, flighty, all the things, right? All the things that you know and are used to of her, that she's freaked out and sensitive and she's flight prone. But she's actually kind of a bitch. She's actually a little bit of a bitch. And that, I think, is most evident when it comes to the social issues between the dogs, and the fact that she's willing to attack the other dog. There is a dominance factor with this dog, which is even a tricky way to describe it, just because it's not really a thing, but it's the easiest way most pet owners know to reconcile behavior. There's a little bit of a dominance thing with her. She's so willful. She's so resistant, from an attitudinal place, not just a fear place. So I know we're going to be able to help. I'm actually seeing really good stuff from her, even though she's not she's not passionate about being here and working. This morning I went to go get her, and she was giving me a tail thump in the back of the crate, which is really, really awesome and encouraging, that she's warming up on that level. But, she's still really pissed about certain things. She's really not happy to be held accountable to the little moments, which I do, right? She's not allowed to bolt through the door ahead of me. She needs to give me space. She needs to give me space in a particular way, not with a panicky, flighty, reactive, split second. Okay, I'll wait for a minute and then I'm going to go again. So because from very, very first moments we started working together, I was very clear about that. She is settling in. She gets it. She understands it. She's like, all right, well, Cam might be a bigger bitch than me. And that's just what she needs, right? That's just what she needs. So I do think that's the trickiest part for you guys long term, is you just inherently have a different energy, and you inherently have a level of softness and empathetic nature and compassion and all of these things that are so amazing to have. But I need you to divert them towards the humans in your life and take them away from the dog, quite a bit more, because that's really actually what's going to help her. That will be the best way for you to love her. Started doing that too. She was very confused. Yep. Yeah, she will be confused because she had up to this point the belief that things were the other way, right? And we're playing bait and switch a little bit. If this was a dating situation, she'd be like, wait a minute, I thought you were cool. So it's okay. She's gonna sort it out. But like I said, this morning I went to get her and I had dump, 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 dump on the tail on the back, and she was ready to come hang out and do a little work with me, even though she gets sluggish, as soon as she realizes I'm asking her to go to school. Um, but baby steps, right? We know we're in it for the long haul with that one, and that we have a different level of expectation of result. She's the best behaved in the kennel. I will tell you that right now. Of all the dogs I have on site right now, she is getting an A plus 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 for her crate skills. I have some massive failures here in that department. A couple of the boys are really bad. So she's definitely, she's not giving me any whining. She's not giving me any nonsense in the crate. She gets a gold star on the crate work. So you guys definitely helped set her up for success when it comes to, increasing the use of that and having that become something that she understands is just part of normal everyday life. And it's now a safe space for sure. Um, all right, guys. Any other questions that I can answer? I'm just checking on where we're at on the time, and I don't want to run over, but I'm here for you if you can think of anything else that I can answer. I thought it would be kind of interesting, just again, downloading on some of the cases that I have right now. You're welcome. Thank you, Susie. And what the process has been. Working the dogs slowly into their second week. All of them are reliable on understanding the remote collar foundation, recalling, placing, heeling, auto sitting, and the walk we're working on. Everybody just needs repetition on that. The separation anxiety, dogs are on the struggle bus. That doesn't change overnight. That's a big project for Winston. That's a huge project for Bucky, who's just turning out to be very immature. I'm super thankful that the universe saw fit for him to be here only for 1 week and not for us to do the full program yet because he's not ready. And that's a good point of note for those of you that have puppies that are thinking you want to do board and train long term and get that remote collar foundation and that off leash reliability. You have to know that you're in the driver's seat for the first 6 months. We can't do that level of work until puppy is more mature. So the puppy program is designed to grow with your pup, and we start to support you and do one-on-ones and be available kind of in your back pocket as a trainer on retainer when you've purchased that program. But that first 6 months, that potty training, the crate training, the prevention of separation anxiety, the building of environmentals, getting that dog used to a leash on the collar, these different things, how you play with your dog, how you give your dog outlets to hunt and seek and use their nose or tug or whatever their jam is. That's all on you. You got to do that. You got to put that work in. In order to get your puppy ready developmentally, they're just not mature enough until they start getting 6, 8, 9 months to be ready for the type of information and structure and accountability that we're asking for when we want to get that program on board. So just keep that in mind. If you're, drawn to the results and you like what we do and you're thinking, man, I'm going to get a puppy, I'm going to get him in there, it's going to be great. Yeah, we love that. We want that. That's what we're here for. But I just don't want anyone to be shocked when you get your puppy at 8 weeks or 10 weeks and you're falling apart, freaking out, because a lot of my clients do. And you're like, take it today. I'm like, I'm not going to take it today. You got to put that big foundational work in. Scent work ideas and games. Yeah, I've talked a lot about this actually, Sarah. I think there's, number one, there's lots of content in the Raising a Rockstar group. So if you're raising a puppy or interested in more of that foundational material, I would strongly encourage you to get in there. It's a cheap tax write-off donation every month. First weeks were rough, but man, does it feel worth it now? Yeah, good for you, Stephanie. Um, overall, Sarah, though, anything where your dog is hunting and you're increasing the difficulty on a regular basis, instead of just playing the same game over and over again, you have to remember that puppies move out of kindergarten. They need to graduate first grade, second grade, third grade. So in the beginning, it might be that, you're feeding in the kennel to help them get used to it and help them feel better about the crate, right? And then after first week or so, maybe you're starting to throw the food in the backyard, that chicken style feeding. I've put some video of that in the Raising a Rockstar group. Chicken style feeding is a great way to have your puppy hunt for every single morsel of their kibble if you're feeding a dry food. You can always do some chicken style feeding and then feed the rest or the last bit of it in a bowl if you have other supplements that you want to provide or fresh food, which I encourage massively for people to do. So don't get hung up on, she told me to throw the food in the yard and then I can't feed him these other fresh things in the bowl. You can do both, okay? I'm telling you, some ways like this COVID situation, I think is just it's starting to atrophy some things for people, some social skills, some processing skills. We need to be careful, guys, that we don't let that happen, that we don't go any further downhill here. You just gotta open your brain up a little bit, gotta open your mind, problem solve, okay? Both things are possible. So, chicken style feeding is awesome, and it can be done in a really small space like this back patio area, even here. This is a teeny little yard and patio area, but you could still, hey, the little girl down here, hey, you could still chicken style feed in a small area like this, or you can do something, in your great big half acre yard, or you can put that puppy on a long line and you can actually drop the food on a trail and let them hunt and find it and move around and be free to look for it, because that hunting is more important than control when it comes to your baby brain. You want that baby brain to learn to do things independently like that, to get that exercise of their mental, strain. We want them to have that outlet of hunting and using their nose in a productive way. And we want them earning the resources and not getting them for free. Okay. So, tremendous value, that activity. These are neighbor dogs, so I can't do anything about it. What would be, oh, boxes. So the other option would be to take the food and put it in, like we all get in Amazon deliveries lately. Take your Amazon boxes, especially with how, varied in sizes they can be, and put the kibble in there. Put, high value dehydrated food, or you can even put little bowls of raw food. If you feed raw, just put them in the different boxes and have the puppy learn to go around and get in the box and take the food out of there. That's a great option as well for hunting and using their nose and increasing the value of your meal service and just making it something that drains your puppy a lot better. It'll take you just a few extra minutes, and I'm telling you, the benefit is massive. Absolutely massive. Yeah, it's entertaining for you too, I bet, huh? Totally. And it's fun to see them really start to problem solve and put things together, because you hide in different places, theoretically, right? And they can't just go based on memory back to the same place it was before. They got to get on that nose. If a dog is using its nose, guys, it's thinking. It's a really important thing to get your dog using their nose. If they're not using the nose is when you're going to see the reactivity, okay? And in another correlating sense to that question about the leash reactivity. So, while I have dogs in board and train right now, some of that stuff is are things that I can do with them. Some of it I can't, only on the basis of doling out that resource for a different purpose. Like with Junie, I'm leveraging food only from me. She's not hunting right now. She'll hunt when she goes home. But more important for me to leverage that food, because she'll go off her food. She'll decline to keep eating, and all of the time that she is willing to take her calories needs to be coming from me to condition the tools and condition the concepts and keep that as positive as possible. Especially for a dog who's like, I don't really like this, no matter what you do. Um, for a dog like Bucky, who I did the tutorial of chicken style feeding, he can only basically do that because it's a disconnected activity. His separation anxiety is so bad. If he gets affection, if he has attention from humans, if he socializes with other dogs, both things he has no problems with. He has no issues with dogs or people. Then it undermines all of the work that we've done the 12, 15 hours prior, getting him to chill out in the crate. It's pretty significant. So, chicken style feeding and then back in the crate, potty walk on leash, back in the crate. This is just all day with him. A lot of time and experience going back into that dynamic of, you need to turn off and be okay alone right now. So, really varies amongst the dogs. Gus, another board and trained dog. I can feed him whole meals in the bowl. I don't have to make him work for his food. I don't have to make him hunt for his food. We have versatility there as to what his issues are. That's not something I need to leverage. It's very interesting. He actually loves to work. He's got a lot of pack drive, and he's got a lot of defense drive. But he actually loves to work. And when you're doing obedience with him, he's already passionate about having attention and direction and being given the clarity that he's been looking for in training is just like a reward to him. That's all he wants. So very different dogs, very, very different dogs. And that's something you got to remember for yourselves, right? They're all different, and why it's difficult sometimes to answer a question precisely and perfectly as to the why behavior is occurring, or what will work to resolve it. It's because, man, there can be a lot of variations. There's overarching themes and truths, but there can be a lot of variations amongst these different dogs based on the humans as well. All right, gang. I should have brought water out here. We good? Anything else you'd like me to tackle before I go? Otherwise, I will get back to work. I've got plenty. I've got absolutely plenty. I'll be talking about Blue, who's a adopted shepherd puppy. that just arrived for the week. I'll be sharing about Blue in the Raising a Rockstar group. So for those of you that are in there, sit tight. He just arrived this morning, and I'll post some content. He has some social issues. Um, Very reactive to my boxer when I did the evaluation and assessment with them. Very defensive, very freaked out, not good social skills. Yes, you may. Jessica, go for it. Go for it. That's the best way for me to give you feedback if you're looking for some support and validation if something's okay. And then Carrie Ann's in there too. She's going to be working with your dog, I think. So the whole team is in there. Caitlin has a puppy right now. Caitlin's in the Raising a Rockstar group, and she's doing awesome stuff with her working breed lab, working line lab, I should say, Grizz. I wish we were seeing more from her posted in the group actually, because she's doing some really fabulous stuff with him. But the whole team's in there and they're available to help support and answer some questions. And video is always the most valuable because then I can give you some diagnostics and other people will benefit from seeing your example. I am in general a firm believer that dogs know better than we do when it comes to socializing with each other and setting boundaries and establishing, hierarchy and things like that, that in the context of your household, you need to be the pack leader, the alpha, these terms that, we throw around. You need to have the stronger opinion and you need to control your space so that the pack of dogs sees you, each of them sees you as, the top, right? Amongst themselves, though, they're going to sort that out on their own. And when you bring a new puppy into the equation, like with Lola, Carmen asked about Lola, let Lola correct the puppy. No matter what, that's the most important thing, in my opinion. Let Lola correct the puppy. Let your other dogs set their boundaries and their limits, because their ability to teach your puppy about being respectful around the food bowl or, calming down when they're annoying. I believe there's a lot of dogs out there that are awkward and unbalanced and don't have great social skills, but even still can be more effective at knowing what level of pressure needs to be applied to a certain puppy as a correction than people are. So this is a tricky one, yes, and sometimes you'll have a dog that maybe is pissy and overdoes it. The first time they're not used to sharing their space. My clients were here the other day with a new dog and their older dog, they've had one fight, like big fight between the two dogs. Got another female, which I wouldn't have advocated for, so that's part of it. But one fight and that's it, and then it was settled and the dogs understand each other now. I frankly think that's so important that happened, even though it was kind of an accident, because the dog doesn't respect the humans at all. They're way too soft on her. And so at least we have some information coming from the other dog to say, hey, you're not as cool as you think you are. You need to chill the fuck out, right? But I've posted a lot of content into Raising a Rockstar showing Laszlo correcting Wheezy from Bitty Bitty, letting him correct her off the food bowl when she approached it, letting him put her in her place about bugging him when he's laying down and trying to chill out. And they just have a great relationship. There's no issues between them. They play, and they also can completely chill out. They're sacked out right now, sleeping. And she's 6 months now. Hey, are you 6 months? Wheezy, are you 6 months? Yeah. So they have a good thing going. Great relationship. They understand, she understands that she needs to listen and respect his space. And it's also given me a lot of insight just to watch them and let that play out and know just how sensitive she is actually. She's a pretty sensitive dog. So it's helped me gauge what I needed to do in terms of corrections. Anyway, that is all I'll say about that. Wish you allowed it sooner. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, you didn't know, and you had enough challenges with her, in the past that it gives you apprehension, understandably. But with a big dog like you got a Dane, they're not ever small, and so you really need to take advantage when they're small, right? You really need to set some things in motion when they're as small as you get them, because they're too big too soon. And that's definitely Winston's issue, who's here right now, and all the Danes I've trained. They get used to throwing their weight around. People are intimidated to try to correct them or claim their space, and they can be really pushy dogs too. So. Hopefully now we can help support you, kind of enhancing what you got to work with. And yeah, yep, I believe it. Twice her height, but she's small and mighty, right? All right, gang. I'm going to take off and get back to work. Thanks a million. If you ever have questions you'd like to submit for Fix It Friday, you can always email them to april@hope2canine.com, or you can drop them in the comments anytime she posts a invitation sort of queue here on the Facebook page. You can also find our contact information through our website, hope2canine.com. So you can go to the website. It's linked out through the page. You can shoot us a note, contact form, email, whatever. We'll get it. And she'll add it to my roster each week when I do a show. I am thinking about moving these into the Raising Rockstar group, though, so forewarning on that. I might be scooching Fix It Friday over into that paid group, which I think is appropriate. And we'll keep you posted on that. But, you know, guys, separation anxiety, stop it. Please, please stop it. I can't take any more. Can't take any more separation anxiety dogs. It's too much work. It's too hard. It's just too hard. You got to prevent it. You just got to prevent it. Okay? All right. Cool. Good talk. You guys have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for being a part of our community. I love knowing that we're all endeavoring towards the same ultimate goal, and just really want to help dogs and be good to dogs. And when we do that, we help ourselves too. So appreciate you. I'll talk to you guys later. Okay? Bye.